coastal photographers like me, humpback whales are some of our most cherished visitors. Their awesome size easily fills our viewfinders and juxtaposes beautifully with our mountainous coastal landscape. Their enigmatic underwater lifestyle, however, is quite inconvenient for us photographers in that it's difficult to create compositions that reveal much story other than that all mammals need to breathe occasionally. The other thing we all need to do is eat. Luckily, humpbacks around here have developed a fascinating and visually spectacular method of group feeding called bubble net feeding. To understand what's going on, we first need to understand a little bit about whales themselves. About 50 million years ago, an animal scientists have named Pakicetus was roaming around the lake shores of Pakistan, feeding on crustaceans. It was a wolf-looking animal about the size of a goat. In a well-preserved and documented series of evolutionary changes, its descendants returned to the water and adopted a fully aquatic lifestyle around 35 million years ago. Keratin is the stuff your nails are made of, and baleen whales have great plates of it hanging from their upper jaw instead of teeth. They use this to filter out plankton and small fish from the water. Baleen whales in general are massive. The largest, the blue whale, is the largest creature ever to have existed on Earth. Humpbacks themselves are the size of a city bus and weigh 3 times as much. But why does an animal that feeds on such tiny creatures need to be so big? Research suggests that the reason is related to food, and finally we get to the crux of the issue, which relates to our bubbling humpbacks. It turns out that the open ocean is actually quite an empty place. When food is available, it's often tightly clumped, and so it pays to be able to gulp as much food as possible at a time. And to do this, it pays to be big, really big. Humpbacks can gulp nearly 60,000 liters of water at a time. That's more water than an average family of 4 uses in a month. The cool thing about humpbacks is that over the last 100 years or so, they've worked out a way to herd fish into tight schools by singing and blowing bubbles, making them easier to catch. This is known as bubble net feeding. Let me show you how it works. Let's suppose there are a couple of humpback whales cruising around looking for food. Now they come upon some bait fish, which are typically herring around here. What happens next is truly remarkable. First, one of the whales, known as the trumpeter, begins to sing. This signals to its companions that it's time to dive down and start herding. The whales sing at frequencies that the fish are exquisitely sensitive to, and this causes them to shy away, tightening the school. The first part of the trap is laid. Second whale, by now under the scared fish, starts to swim in a slow upward spiral, slowly exhaling bubbles as it goes. If present, other whales will herd the fish from the sides into the bubble net. The bubbles do 2 things. First, they create a vertical cylinder net of bubbles trapping the fish who are scared of the bubbles inside, forcing them toward the ocean surface. Second, the bubbles insulate the fish from the irritating singing, further motivating them to stay in a tight group inside the bubble net. Finally, about 4 seconds after the singing stops, all the whales lunge up through the hapless school of fish, erupting out of the water in a mess of bubbles, fish, and whale mouths. This is one of the most spectacular sights on our coast, and is a photographic treat, as you might imagine. So now you understand what all the fuss is about. So without further ado, please enjoy some of the humpback bubble net feeding I've been privileged to watch here on the BC coast.